Hello, my name is Francisco Guerra Vichido. I'm into Group 1PUB41, and I'm going to talk about Mexican Petroleum. First of all, it's important to start with the definition of petroleum. A crude oil is a mixture of hydrocarbons that exist in a liquid phase in a natural underground reservoir. It's also important to emphasize the difference between crude oil and petroleum. The petroleum is the crude oil that has been already extracted and refined to produce products from this. Some of the most common uses of the petroleum are the gasoline, kerosene, distillates like diesel, heating oils, waxes, lubricating oils, and asphalt. But it is also used in the fabrication of plastics, drugs, and makeup. The most important classification method for the petroleum depends on the grades of the equigravity. But what is the equigravity? The equigravity is a measurement method established by the American Petroleum Institute. That's where the abbreviation API comes from. It is used to express the relative density of petroleum liquids in comparison to water. And how does this system work? The higher the equigravity is, the lower the density of the petroleum liquid. So light oils have high equigravities and vice versa. It is important to emphasize that the higher the equigravity is, indicates that it's a better type of petroleum. So here we can see a graphic that indicates the classification of the petroleum according to the grades of the equigravity. We have that when the equigravity is more than 39, we are talking about a super light petroleum. When the equigravity is greater than 31.1 and less than 39, it is a light petroleum. When the equigravity is greater than 22.3 and less than 31.1, it is a medium petroleum. When the equigravity is greater than 10 but less than 22.3, it is a heavy petroleum. And finally, when the equigravity is less than 10, it is an extra heavy petroleum. After clarifying all these concepts that we need to know for a better understanding of the topic, it's time to start with the explanation of the type of Mexican petroleum. In Mexico, we can find three principal types of petroleum, which are Olmeca, Istmo, and Maya. The Olmeca is considered an extra light petroleum due to its characteristics. It is a good producer of lubricants and petrochemicals. It has an equigravity of 39. Istmo is a light petroleum. It has an equigravity of 32, and it's good to produce gasoline and distillates. While Maya is a heavy petroleum. It has an equigravity of 22, and due to its qualities, it has a lower efficiency in the production of gasoline in diesel in comparison to its Olmeca, but it's a good source of domestic energy. The Maya petroleum represents almost half of the total production. The principal marketer is the Puerto de Dos Bocas in Paraiso, Tabasco. The Istmo petroleum represents almost a third part of the total production, while Olmeca is almost a fifth part of the total production. An important portion of the petroleum comes from Campeche in the Gulf of Mexico, but other centers of extractions are in Chiapas, Tabasco, and Veracruz. In Mexico, we can find 6 refineries belonging to Pemex. The first one is in Salamanca, Guanajuato. It was created in 1950 by the President Miguel Alemán Valdés. It has 45 production plants and produces almost 180,000 barrels every day. It is the only one refinery that produces isopropyl alcohol and basic lubricants. The second is in Minatitlán, Veracruz. It was inaugurated in the 22nd February in 1956. It has a refining capacity of 50,000 barrels every day. It was the first refinery with catalytic disintegration in Mexico. Nowadays, it can process almost 285,000 barrels every day. The third was inaugurated in 1976 in Tula de Allende, Hidalgo. It used to have a generating plant of hydrogen, but it was sold in the last administration to particulars. It has a process capacity of 350,000 barrels every day. The fourth is in Cadereyta, Nuevo León. It was inaugurated in 1979. It processes 110,000 barrels every day, but it has a capacity of 275 barrels per day. Sorry, 275,000 barrels per day. It produced gasoline, diesel, asphalt, sulfur, propylene, and LP gas. The fifth is in Salina Cruz, Oaxaca. It was inaugurated in 1979. Nowadays, it has a production of 238,000 barrels per day, but it can produce even 330,000 barrels. The sixth and last is in Ciudad Madero, Tamaulipas. This refinery has more than 100 years of operation. It was inaugurated in 1940 by the American company El Águila until the petroleum expropriation. Nowadays has a process capacity of 190,000 barrels per day. It is important to count the production of the refinery from Deer Park, Texas, where Pemex and Shell Oil are business partners. Also, there is going to be a seventh refinery in Dos Bocas, Tabasco, that maybe will be inaugurated in 2022. The construction, administration, and development is by Pemex. Okay, about exportation, in 2020, it was exported 1,109,000 barrels every day, where 11.5% was ISMO, and the 88.5% was a mix of Maya with Altamira and Talam. The principal countries that Mexico exports to are the United States, Canada, China, Spain, Brazil, Colombia, Germany, India, Japan, and Netherlands. Now, before we talk about Altamira and Talam, you must be wondering what is Altamira and Talam. Well, they are another type of petroleum. The matter with them is that they have an apigravity between 15 and 16. So it's a petroleum heavier than Maya, and its production is much lower than Olmeca. That is the reason why there is not much information about them. But we know that its principal use is for asphalt. Contamination. In the most dangerous situations of environment pollution are the petroleum spills in lakes, seas, and oceans. The contamination could be accidentally, but only the 8% is by natural sources. The most popular and worst accident is the explosion of the platform Deepwater Horizon, the 22nd of April in 2010. Also, it doesn't belong to a Mexican company. It happened in the Gulf of Mexico. And it took 3 months to seal the well Macondo, where it came out 50,000 barrels of crude oil every day for 3 months. It is considered the worst accident spilled in the world, leaving 11 deaths because of the explosion and an extension of 140,000 kilometers contaminated. Producing like a effect of the explosion was the destruction of aquatic flora and fauna for the lack of sunlight, avoiding the photosynthesis. And finally, here are some sources where my information comes from. Thank you very much for your attention.